This is the Lydia and Spin with Lydia Lunch and Tim Dahl, episode number 157. It is indeed the dog days of summer.
Oh, it's toasty out there. I went in the ocean to cool off,
Oh, nice.
which was a smart thing to do. Got up early and said, "Hey, I'm gonna go swimming." And by the way, the water temp in New York right now is fucking amazing. It's cool, but it's not cold. Like, oh my god, it's freezing. It's just like perfect. So
Yeah. How was the pollution level? You check that?
it was like, well, I didn't check it, but I didn't see any floating plastic. I didn't see any Coney Island whitefish.
That's good to know.
I didn't see any syringes. I go to Rockaway. I go to the open ocean. I'm not so into the bay zones because there's more junk you find there.
I go to my bathtub. It's really clean.
Your bathtub and bathroom are clean. I've never taken a bath there, but
Well, you're always welcome.
Okay.
I mean, there's not really room for both of us, but does that matter?
It doesn't matter.
All right, tell me what you got.
All right,
Speaking about people that got a little too close to something.
Oh yeah, well this Philip Carroll of Maryland, he and his family, it's vacation. He took his family to, or I think his family probably took him. He's only 23 years old, but they went to Italy, flew into Naples, did the whole Pompeii thing, and they did a hike of Mount Vesuvius. Now, they have trails that are clearly marked and in English, of course, in Italian and many languages. He decided, hey, let's ignore this and go to the one that says, don't go into this trail.
23-year-old genius.
And they all followed, and they went for a while. They went up 4,000 feet, and it was some spectacular view, and he turned around to take his selfie when he fell into a crater. All the loose stones and rock came tumbling. He somehow managed to stop and hold on, like, oh, he would have fallen 3,000 feet to his death. And he was strong enough, his adrenaline, but eventually the rescue committee came and saved his life. And
but a waste of resources.
Oh, huge waste of resources, waste of money. And once things were stabilized, he had some cuts and bruises. He's in the hospital. The Carabinieri, or what's the Italian police?
But Carabinieri, yeah.
Carabinieri. They arrested him because, well, he cost them a lot of fucking money.
Well, not all selfies can kill you, but most people that take selfies, I do want to kill them, I must say.
Well, selfies by nature are selfish.
Now, Tim, you occasionally like a little cool afternoon, refreshing adult beverage. I wanted to ask you,
yes.
I'm famous for my both hot and cold toddies.
Yes, you are.
But what is the most unique whiskey or bourbon or rye that you've ever tasted? I think I got a new one for you.
Well, it wouldn't be a cold one, but there was a Speyside Scotch I had once that was really didn't taste anything like Scotch. I did the Scotch whiskey history museum in Edinburgh once on tour. I had like a day off, and I got to try all these different ones. I mean, just some of the Islays are so smoky and exotic, but everyone knows us, so it's not bizarre anymore. But they are pretty bizarre.
Well, since it is summertime and
yes,
everybody needs a vacation, you might be heading to New Hampshire soon because there is a distillery there.
Okay.
That has been taking on a problem of small green crustaceans.
Oh boy.
Green crabs are the invasive pests that have plagued North America's marine ecosystem for more than 200 years.
Okay.
So a New Hampshire distillery is taking on the problem by using them to make green crab flavored whiskey. Now, they're so abundant that it's obviously going to take more than some whiskey to curb the population, but there's some hope to this. So Tamworth Distilling Crab Trapper whiskey gets its flavor from green crabs caught off the coast of New Hampshire. The crabs, obviously, like a lot of things, hitched a ride coming from Europe in the 1800s, and they eat tons of shellfish and destroy fish habitats. Will Robinson, not the space cadet, the product developer at Tamworth Distilling, he had the idea for the project. He said, hey, the crabs are clean. They're prepared just like any crab you might order. And of course, most people are like, crab whiskey? Get the hell out of here. But when you taste it, they change their mind. So first they make crab stock. Then they distill it using a vacuum still, a glass machine that allows for precise temperature control. Quote Robinson, it looks like a crazy piece of laboratory equipment, but it preserves the flavor and aroma, and it's pretty tasty. It's also mixed with mustard seed, coriander, cinnamon, and then combined with a bourbon base.
All
He
right.
considers it a thinking, sipping drink. Well,
Would you
all
have
right.
it? Would you have that? Would you
Sure.
try it? I would
Sure.
try it. I mean, yeah, why not? I mean,
Please.
you can. I mean, crab flavored chips. There's crab flavored everything, but
Yeah, I think that crab flavor is probably minimal in it.
it's
You
probably
know,
minimal. I mean, what it's these days, because people are into all these exotic flavors of all types of things that you wouldn't associate with the flavor they're infusing. So like all these gourmet chefs coming out of culinary school are doing all these types of ice cream, like lobster ice, all that shit.
Horrible.
I haven't
Well-
even tried that
Well,
stuff.
I mean, they basically are saying, look, there's so many of these invasive little small green crabs that they're hoping that whiskey is just the hook for other inventors to come and think of more innovative ways to get rid of some of these little pesca doodads.
Well, yes, that could be cool. Now, in terms of failed innovation and failed experimentation, 12-year-old Barrett McKinn of North Carolina, curious young little boy. He was really into his science class, and he wanted to do all these home experiments. His family was there, and he was really into minerals and rocks. And so basically, he got all this stuff together. He read all these books, and he was really fascinated with fool's gold. And he was like, "Oh, there are some real tried and true ways of testing fool's gold to prove that it's not real gold." So maybe he cut corners, maybe he didn't read it well. I mean, he was 12. So he starts doing all types of stuff, heating up stones and adding different alcohols and stones. Well, no pun intended, it backfired. And basically all of these stones and minerals and rocks just exploded into his face. I mean, a disaster. I mean, 3rd-degree burns. I mean, he came running into the kitchen on fire. So I mean, he was encouraged. He was a really good student. He was going home and doing all his experiments, but sometimes if you don't know what you're doing,
better read and there might not even be any instructions. Now, what do you think would be the salve to a metal burn?
I have no fucking idea. And I'm sure it varies, right? Depending on which metal.
That something to research, indeed. I know that somebody that I lived with once was a young budding chemist, and at 12 years old, they blew up their own brother's face, who then was left with raccoon white eyes where his glasses were. He was a budding bomb maker.
I think it really depends on how hot the metal. So is it is a lot of iron ore? I mean, I feel a little ignorant here. Speaking of Mount Vesuvius, when lava's coming out, is there a lot of iron, molten
iron? It's gonna hurt.
Because I heard, because there's volcano chasers out there,
like tornado chasers, chasers,
some
like chasers, ambulance chasers.
Right. But the problem is with all the stuff coming, all the lava, and I think it's the iron ore or whatever. It's so hot that even like basically a speck of sand size drop, if it hits you, it goes literally right through your body, like immediately. It's so dense.
Nature's bullets.
Yeah, it's no joke. So,
well, I'm avoiding hot rocks, volcanoes, small baby crabs running around, any kind of crabs running around, and pretty much everything. Right.
Well, you should also avoid Larry Sanders, not the actor performer, but
it's hard to avoid a ghost.
Yeah, a different Larry Sanders of Oklahoma. He was arrested, charged with murder of Jimmy Knighton, his fishing buddy. They would go out to, it's called the Canadian River in Oklahoma, and they would fish all the time. But Larry started strangling Jimmy, and ultimately
fishing line.
I think he used his hands, but I don't have that detail.
I love the details. Go ahead. I'll use my imagination on this one.
Well,
probably his hands.
Well, Jimmy Knighton was found dead, and the sheriff's department was called. Police, they arrested him, and in fact, Sheriff John Christian said Larry, quote unquote, appeared to be under the influence of something. End of quote. And basically Larry said he had to do it because Jimmy Knighton had summoned Bigfoot to come and eat him. And so he had to stop all of that. I mean, if he already summoned Bigfoot, I mean, would killing Jimmy stop that from happening? It wasn't clear.
I don't know, but we have to remember that there is a law, I forget which state, against actually killing Bigfoot. So maybe he did the right thing.
I remember that was Washington State.
Well, Oklahoma, Washington State, I don't know what's going on.
I just don't know. I mean, are there many Yeti Bigfoot sightings in Oklahoma?
There's Yeti chasers as well.
Yes, there are.
I don't believe it.
So Lydia, let me ask you a question. Have you ever gotten, you checked your bag in, you're flying somewhere and it comes out all fucked up? Like, Jesus Christ.
Because
so
I rarely check my bag.
I've been fairly lucky. I mean,
but
Weasel had a problem. We can talk about that another time.
He's got enough problems. We'll dedicate a whole nother show to him eventually.
Well, Emily Hoffreier was flying from Fort Myers to Salt Lake City, Fort Myers, Florida. Not
a big trip.
That's pretty big. Fort Myers, Florida, Salt Lake City. I mean, it's not huge.
Well, come on, it's not going to Europe.
It's besides the point, because when she was waiting for her luggage came out, she's like, "What?" I mean,
Bob hit it.
I mean, everyone made comments. David, she screamed out, "Is T-Rex behind there?" I mean, the thing is just shredded. I mean, it's just nothing like anyone's even seen. I'm surprised they even put it through.
Well, this is the nightmare of travel at this point. Yeah, so go ahead.
It's Delta. No, it's Delta, and they, everyone. They investigated, blah, blah, blah. Well, it turns out, I don't know what happened. I think when they dropped the wheels upon landing, somehow the bag got caught. I don't know how this happened, but it got caught up basically like in a spoke in the wheel or something. Basically, it was dragged half a mile on the tarmac on a tire and shredded wheat. I mean, the whole thing was just
right now there's stories of people having to travel to 4 cities trying to track their own bag. And actually, I think if anybody's going to travel, I try never to check my bag. Sometimes they make you. It might be worth to get your own GPS for your luggage.
That's scary. I have to go overseas soon with my gear, and that makes me nervous.
That's why I only use my mouth. They often ask me to check that at the gate, but try to get me to do that. Leave me alone.
Well, I have a rated X story about something, never mind, that involves checked baggage and you, and I won't say it.
I can't wait for you to tell me after we get off this podcast, because I can't remember it anyway, whatever that. Oh, yeah, I know.
All right.
Well,
whatever. No big deal.
I like a good gag every now and then.
Anyhow, well, I mean, that's it for my news stories for the week.
Well, again, it's the dog. I'm not interested in anything at the moment. It's the dog days. I'm on a mind blank period. I was going to say defrosting, but I'm defrosting my brain because it's overheating. So I'm reading nothing, watching nothing, doing nothing, talking to no one, and I'm loving it. Every minute of it. Wonderful.
Good
it's
for
like
you.
Cleaning out. Like I'm cleaning out my mental closet.
So many mammals hibernate in the winter.
I do it in the summer.
Lydia does it in the summer.
Contrarian, of course, because it's always summer in my body. But when it is the real summer, I do kind of have to. I hibernate. You're right. Yeah,
you're allowed to do it.
I love it.
So, are you gonna announce our guests?
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, unless you have more stories.
Hell no. I'll keep those to myself. And
okay.
Use your imagination on that X-rated luggage joke.
Oh, yes.
Episode 157, we are featuring Wolf Eyes, who've released more than 157 CDs or cassettes in their history.
257.
I don't even think they know. Maybe they do know. Anyway, it's the Lydia and Spin with Lydia Lunch, Tim Dahl, episode 157 with Wolf Eyes. This is the Lydia and Spin with Lydia Lunch, Tim Dahl, and both gentlemen from Wolf Eyes. We have Nate Young and John Olson. Hi,
Hello.
thanks for coming at us.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Are you guys in the Detroit area?
Yeah, more or less. I'm in Pontiac, which is just like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes north.
Yeah, a little breezier. We're all in the heat dome right now.
Well, no, John Olson, the pregame talk, he was talking about he's in the Upper Peninsula right now in like the kind of woods lake zone, which is pretty spectacular this time of year.
I'm in Kessel, Michigan, and it doesn't have a street address, and that Google hasn't even been here yet.
Whoa.
Glad to hear it. I won't be stalking you later. Lucky for you.
So, originally we were going to do it last Friday because I think, Nate, you said you guys just kind of have the habit of getting together on Fridays and you're making music, you're doing your whole thing. I mean, is it just one day a week? I mean, you guys are super prolific. So, and disciplined, it seems like. So,
just one day a week. John lives in Lansing and I'm in Pontiac. Like, that's like 3 hours, 2.5. Johnny, is that right?
Yeah.
Where is the studio?
It's in Pontiac. Yeah.
Oh, the studio's in Pontiac. Okay. So, John, you do like the commute every Friday?
Yeah. I mean, like when it's when it's time to get back to gig time and stuff, it's 2 times a week, but it's usually a solid. I mean, the entire COVID time we maybe missed a couple things, but we love it. That's the good stuff. Grab a taco on the way, drive to Nate's, stumble, drive back, don't get pulled over. That's the what's more rock and roll than that on a Friday night. Make some weird sounds.
What are the Michigan Stadies like? State cops? Is that
Probably.
Cop stuff like everywhere else, man. They're brutal. They're brutal.
Okay.
And they're everywhere on Friday night. I mean, they're just everywhere. So you got to keep.
The studio, actually, it's kind of like it's downtown, but there's a hospital across the street, and then the sheriff's department is not. It's like maybe 2 blocks away. So the cops are always hanging out. It kind of sucks, but there's problems in Pontiac than these 2 white boys hanging out doing.
Sure.
Have you befriended any of them just to get them on your good or bad side? I mean, that would, if I was visiting, that would be my job. That's what I do.
Well, Michigan I remember it being, New York was like the first hotspot in the United States with the COVID thing. It was like crazy. But then Michigan was kind of there multiple times. And so it must have been pretty busy for a while next to your studio.
Scared shitless. Like they set up these tents on the corner for COVID testing and shut off the street. And I was like shitting bricks. I was convinced somehow that we were going to get overrun and I was going to have to barricade my door. Like I got super out of my mind.
You had COVID panic, as it's called.
But, I mean, that was bad. But one Friday, do you guys remember the Oxford shootings? Do you remember that?
Remind me.
There's so many who can keep up with the shootings. I mean, this is the problem right now. There's 300 this year.
A kid that shot up a school in Oxford, Michigan, not too far from Nate's.
Yeah.
And we were practicing, getting a really, working stuff. And we go outside to smoke a cigarette, and there's probably, 400 people there. They were moving one of the I think the final body from the hospital to the ambulance. Yeah. And it was like right in front of Nate's place. It was really intense.
It was the kid who died trying to save other kids. He got shot in the line of fire, and he gave his body, donated his body to science, and there's a memorial going out in front of our studio. And we walk out front, and there's like 400 people crying. And I was like, yeah, living on a hospital campus kind of sucks,
Well, at least if you get shot, you don't have far to go. And it is a fact of life we all face every freaking day now with the mania that this country has become. It's ridiculous. I mean, I don't think everybody needs a gun. We need suits of armor. We need like bulletproof vests and helmets.
For real. Yeah. Now, I mean, we played 1 or 2 gigs, and I hadn't thought anything about shootings at all. But yeah, now for some reason, like the last couple months, last month, it's in my head. I don't know why.
Well, 2 months ago, I was playing with Weasel and Rick I, who we all know down in Denton, and John and Bootleg. We have a new band, and at Rubber Gloves, someone flashed a gun. He was tackled, but it actually happened, and they kind of, the bouncer sized him up. Was like he's seen this before, kind of deal. And there he was. Guy was being a dick, and then he took his gun out. I guess we were performing. We didn't even know. We only knew after the fact. So yes, definitely on the table.
I'm going to invest in a metal detecting brassiere.
Right.
That's going to magnetize. And I'm going back to thinking of was it Ursula Andress that was shooting bullets out of her breast? It's like, my breasts are going to suck in the bullets and spit them back in the person's eye that aimed them at me. I mean, it's got to be done.
Man, that's some chest power right there.
Well,
breast power.
Whoa.
I don't want to shoot either of you in the eye right now, so I'm keeping them on the DL. Wolf eyes, you'll be blinded. Blind wolf eyes. Let's just stop it there, gentlemen, please.
Let me ask you guys. So you're super prolific. You're constantly producing material, and you're releasing it yourselves, but you've also been on fairly big labels like Sub Pop and stuff like that. Do you kind of set aside like kind of the big hits? When do you just what do you decide is released how and for what reason and with who?
We don't. I fuck me if I know what a hit is.
That's what you avoid getting on the head when you're playing live.
Right. Fuck me. I don't know. We've been doing this forever. I don't know. It's just what we have always done. And it's weird. Like we kind of put aside some things that we were doing and then pick them back up later, like the record cutting thing. We got really into lathe cuts and cutting our own records on pieces of, right? And then got so sick of that. But just the past couple of weeks, yeah.
Coming back.
What
was when was your last release? Was that, excuse me, is it called Undertow?
No, that would have been the last, I guess, that would have been the major, I guess. I don't know. Fuck.
Oh, I really like that because, I mean, look, a lot of your music changes. You've had different members come in and out. People want to term it as noise. I found that record was almost classical. It's classical noise. Is there such a thing? It was. I don't like to say mellow. It was just a really different vibe. I really thought that was a pretty cool vibe there.
Thank you. Yeah.
We're always trying to switch it up. What is it? Like 25 years, right? Something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's like we're definitely married by all, we're by all due descriptions, slept next to Nate probably more than my wife, and
anyone that thinks a marriage can last 25 years, I mean, that's a rarity, but hello.
Marriages are different, I guess.
That's a secret to marriage. Don't sleep in the same bed and don't live in the same house, preferably not the same city. You'll get along much longer and it's kind of sexy that way. Just saying.
Yeah.
But then again, I do prefer married men, people that are married to other people.
Oh,
OPP?
That's trouble. I'm down with OPP, other people's penis. Yeah. I'm a bit randy today. Excuse me.
did anyone ever see Naughty by Nature live?
What's that?
Has anyone in this chat room seen Naughty by Nature live?
I wish.
You wish. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not. I saw Scarface. I saw Ice Cube. I saw Body Bag. What was Ice T's one?
Body Count.
Body
Body
count.
Count.
All right.
Yeah.
I saw a few of those guys.
Was Body Count kind of intense live or what?
I actually thought Ice Cube. Well, Ice Cube, and further south you go because I do like Scarface. That was intense. I really like Ice Cube, like the War and Peace records of Ghetto Vet is when I like, a good morality tale.
Are you talking about Ice Cube or Ice T?
I'm talking about Ice Cube.
Okay, but
Ice to the
Ice
motherfucking
T was in
Cube.
Body Count. Okay, all right.
No, Ice T was in Body Count.
Yeah, exactly.
Get your rap correct.
I would know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying. I was
Tim
confused.
knows rap.
You're talking about Body Count, so I was confused.
Before Ice-T got into rap, he was like doing crime and like special victims stuff, He was like a cop.
Forever.
He actually was one, or you're talking about his character on TV?
No, I mean that's what do you mean character? Isn't that like
Well, speak about a wife. Ice-T has the wife to end all wives.
Yeah, no,
she's like a mistress.
I met Ice-T once at in St. Louis airport, whatever that is. He was actually, just kind of walking around. I was like, "Hey, you're Ice-T," and
wow.
yeah, he had like a guy next to him that was his like entourage or assistant.
Yeah, but I was in the car with Scarface when he pulled out a gap. Now, top me on that, homie.
Yeah, but Ice-T just was on last box of Honey Nut Cheerios I bought. Scarface, I don't think he's going to be on Raisin.
He better not be on Raisin Bran. If Bushwick Bill appears, that's another story. But serial killer, we know all about that.
Do you think Wheeze will bring back Jenner, but as Caitlyn? like pole vaulting and stuff?
Heavy question, bro.
All right, Wolf Eyes, king of the self-released prolific noise masters. What kind of music do you listen to? I mean, we're talking about rap here. We're talking about old school rap. Both Tim and I, we have a bit of a fetish for, I like murder rap.
Name a type of music we don't listen to. I mean, it's kind of like,
it's great because it's not reflected in the music you make, which I love, because I hate when I hear a band and I go, I know your fucking record collection. With you, I have no idea. That's why I'm asking.
Well, mine's much smaller.
Country rap? Do you listen to country rap? I'm trying to think.
When we just drove to our escape room, our friend who we're with, Elizabeth, had what I would call a Diva 5 o'clock playlist that had country rap and like Whitney and some other stuff. A couple of Cher cuts in there. That was nice.
Disgusting. No wonder you make noise. Total rebellion.
I don't know. Let me look at my.
Are you pulling up your playlist?
I am.
Hey, I just heard something I'd never heard before. Tim, you might know this. I'd never heard of Eddie Harris. Have you? Of course you did, because you're a musicologist. But I heard a great song from him that was called I don't need nobody. And he was another very perverse diversifier who put out a lot of records. None of them hit, of course. What a weirdo, I have to say. Something like I had a Invitation to the Blues by Tom Waits, and Eddie Harris just came up after that. That was a happy accident.
He was trying the electric saxophone real hard.
Exactly. But some of his song lyrics, and he has this habit, and then he had a really bad comedy album. Has this habit at the end of some songs of just repeating the same phrase about 20 times. Very unique. His one album, I Need Money.
I knew Eddie Harris was a jazz guy. Yeah.
You don't think I'm listening to noise music in my spare time, Tim? Jesus. I sometimes make noise. I don't listen to it.
I don't think anybody does, really.
It's one thing to make it. It's another thing to subject yourself to it.
Well, my wife does. I'll tell you that much.
Your wife what?
No, it's about people not listening to noise music.
Why should she?
What's your relationship with your folks and your musical relationship with your folks? Do you not even attempt to share what you have, or do you kind of like have sit downs?
Nate did a gig with my mom playing bass face in a basement, and she played harp, and it was great. We played with Elvis Presley, and there's a part where they all ran around in the basement naked, and everyone was all stoned. And my mom turned to me and she says, "Oh, this gig is great. I love this gig."
Wait, Elvis Presley, or these miniature people dressed as Elvis Presley? What are you talking about? You lost me here. This is so wackadoodle. Go back on these details a bit.
No, it was like a play, right? I think that's what it was. It was these cats running around naked as little elves with little sideburns.
Were they little people?
No, they were
Big
full
ones.
They were full.
You know, okay, so they're big people pretending to be little. I'm like, I'm small. I always pretend to be big. Big Lou. I don't know. I understand the reversal of roles. No biggie.
No
So
No
this
biggie.
this performance was in someone's basement.
Yeah,
And there was like your mom was there, and they're nude, big people pretending to be elves.
weird gig, man. Like, how did you? I don't know how your mom. How did we decide to do that gig with your mom? Like, what was that?
Well, we had the I guess Nate, you should tell them about the instruments first. I guess it's kind of the part of that. Sucked her
Yeah,
in.
they're like some. So one day I bought a mechanical fish. You know, the Billy Bob fish.
I do. Those annoying motherfuckers, yeah.
And I slowed it all the way down internally, so it was like. And it's like, you know, the actual movement of the fish still works and goes with the sound. It isn't, I love those things. But I made one, I made two, and then, yeah, Olson, how do we end up playing harp with your mom?
I think my mom was in town, and I'm just like, yo, we got this gig with these naked dudes. Do you want to jam it with us? You know, there's going to be smoking pot, and it's going to be fun. And she got on her best dress, brought her harp over, and it was amazing. I mean, the most psychedelic thing was, you know, me and Nate and our old member Dillaway was playing, and we had our game faces on, looking all tough. And I looked over, my mom just looked at me and just smiled. I'm just like, God damn, man. I guess that's intense, you know?
When
That
was
might
this?
have been one of her favorite or best performances.
Could be. What was that name? Kindred Spirits, right? That was the
Yeah.
played in. Yeah.
Well, you guys must have done a lot of shows in basements.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That
Yep.
was a harp too.
Basement Kings.
Yeah.
I think the first anal cunt show was in front of like Seth Putnam's mom and aunt or something like that. And
Oh, my God.
and the aunt said, like, if you do this in, like, you know, the clubs in Boston, they're going to beat you up. And I think, and then that's what ended up happening quite a bit.
You know, going back to moms, I just have to repeat this because I was so astonished when we had Lloyd Kaufman on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he said he went to school with Oliver Stone, and their parents used to swing together. That was, to me, was just so disturbing. I mean, a suburban swing party with, I mean, Oliver Stone's parents and Lloyd Kaufman's, perfect sense. That's the suburb. That's the suburbs for you.
Yeah, that's some gossip that he actually kind of unleashed on us. There's some 1950s kind of like wife swapping vibe going on.
After they were done swinging, they probably like switched scripts and stuff. Like, hey, I got this movie idea. You know?
Kind of. I mean, Kaufman claims that definitely Oliver Stone stole some of his ideas when they went to Yale together. They ended up going as like kind of swinging sibling, whatever you want to call them.
Well, it would have
they
been
ended up going to
very.
Yale together.
It would have been good if Lloyd Kaufman would have stolen some of Oliver Stone's ideas, if you ask me. Just
You mean-
saying.
Masterpiece that is the Doors movie.
Turnaround is fair play. No, I mean, Natural Born Killers never make another fucking film.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Trauma should do their interpretation of the Doors.
Oh my God.
It would be called The Boars.
Wow. Or do their version of Anal Cunt. That would be good.
Oh.
That's probably more likely.
As I was telling people, Jim Carrey should play the Seth Putnam story. I think that would. I think that would work. I think it would work.
I mean, other than the sexually transmitted diseases, I've always had a little fetish for that Jim Carrey. I don't know why. You know, comedians are such sad sack clowns. I mean, Cable Guy, that told me everything I needed to know. I never saw another Jim Carrey movie. I didn't have to. I've been jerking off to that one ever since. What can I say?
What about, do you still have the same masturbatory allure to him in Sunset Mind or Sunshine Mind? Or
I don't go there. I'm very, very specific with the way I like men to act.
Okay.
I don't think it was Ace Ventura that she was into.
Cable Guy, period. Beginning and end. I'm a Magana heathen. I only like Jim Carrey could possibly. He just tried to kill people with his diseases. He is a great political cartoonist. Enough said.
All right, so guys, I guess we have to touch on the history of the band a little bit for all those out there who don't know. So, Nate, you're the original member in this duo right now, right?
Yeah, I'm the founder and original member.
Have you ever decided to kick yourself out of your own band?
I've seen it happen with other bands, though, right?
I'm kicking myself out.
And so then when Dillaway joined, and then John joined, it was a trio, right? Is that how it happened? And then
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yep.
and then Dillaway left. I guess I was just in Hanover in Germany, and Claudia, Tom Smith's girlfriend, late girlfriend. Anyhow, or no, he's late. Anyhow, but that's what Tom Smith said on his deathbed. She goes, what do I do with these 50 maxed out hard drives? And he's like, send them to Dillo.
Yeah,
he'll go through it. So
yeah.
When you guys first, decided to start cranking around in your collective basements doing what you do, what was the instrumentation you were using then, and has it changed? What was the primary instrumentation when you first decided to do Wolf Eyes back in the mid 90s?
It's funny because the original instrumentation was, from my solo perception of whatever birth of what Wolf Eyes would be, has not changed that much. It was the tape loop and an overdub of some water. I think that's basically some wolf howls. That's basically hasn't really changed a lot since then. I mean, there's still all those elements, maybe not the actual literal wolf howl anymore, but that was sick though. It was like Robert Redford, I think, or no?
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was Robert Redford. Yeah. That was the original. I mean, it hasn't changed much since then. Tape loops, homemade electronics. I mean, now we're a little fancier, and
sound. I mean, do you record things like water and fire? Stockhausen Sirius. It has a lot of water and fire. Stuff going on.
I mean, those were found. Yeah, those were literally found sounds. Like literally, I found those tapes in a dumpster that day. That night, gave it to Dillo. One copy, gave it to Dillo. I was like, yeah, check this out. Look what I made. And yeah, like 3 years later, he started jamming,
And then from there on, I mean, there were some years in the mid 2000s where you were putting out like shit more than, I don't know, every week almost. There was a couple of years in the 2008, 2009 where, I mean, how were you releasing this stuff? I know it was that you were self-releasing, but was it on cassettes? What was it on then?
Well, the weekly stuff, I think that happened while we were on tour, right?
Okay.
Like the Wheels of Confusion shit, right?
Yeah.
So, we would record the night before, and those were on CDR, I think. We had just dubbed them off a laptop,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we had a style where we would go to a hotel, take the sheets off the bed, silk screen on the sheets, record a tape each, and dub it and silk screen shirt, and have a new tape for the gig the next night, and sew them right there. And that was incredible. That was like the best thing ever,
Hasn't really. I mean, that's still kind of going on too, but minus the hotel room.
It's a bit time consuming, but I mean, that's what made that shit special, is like it's one of a kind basically, and here you go. And the music repeated. No, that's why you're releasing something every gig.
Well, I used to do this. I had a label called Warzone, and it absolutely was one of ones, like kind of the dumbest idea ever. But no, totally, like record a tape, give it to someone, and that was basically it. I don't think anybody has any of those anymore.
How well do you know your own deep cuts?
Nice. Yeah.
I'll know it's me, but I won't know exactly when it's from a lot of times.
Okay.
I mean, John's way better at it.
So
wait, and how can you, when the output was so grand at one point? I mean, how are you supposed to freaking know when it was anyway? I mean, even if you were told the date, you still might go, all right, what? Next.
For instance, Nate, the very last practice we had last Thursday, Nate pulled out a tape from 2009, and we were like, oh, this is what we played. This is who we played with. I remember the fight, or there's some drama here. And that's I'm glad that's why that's all documented,
And that's what's so important. I mean, documentation, especially when you're weirdos like us, it's just a priority. It has to be done. And it's really important, even if nobody else fucking cares about us. We care. It had to be done. I'm happy I documented everything I did. I'm happy you documented every fucking thing you did. I'll never have a chance to listen to it all. Good luck, motherfuckers. But you did it. That's what's important. Somebody might find one of those tapes, like you found one in a dumpster, and just go, holy motherfuck.
No, for sure. That was the dream back in the day, too, that someone would, the way I discovered music when I was going to thrift stores or, mostly thrift stores, and like, oh, what the fuck is this weird thing? We never really did that, but we always said maybe we did, that we would just drop off copies in thrift store,
Shop dropping. It's called, as opposed to shoplifting, when you steal something, when you drop stuff off, it's called shop dropping. It's an actual thing.
Never did it really, but maybe.
There's time.
Maybe.
There's time.
I think someone did it for us, but we never personally did it,
Do you do any water sports?
We kayak. That's cool.
Any fishing? Fishing?
No fishing. No.
Water skiing.
No sexy water sports either. No skiing. Paddle only. I'm a paddle boy.
Well, now you're talking.
Yeah.
I'll paddle you anytime.
I'll give you a good paddling for real.
I mean, that'll be tit for tat, I guess.
Lydia's a switch, so
I'm a switch hitter.
All right.
I'm a witch, Tim. Touch the switch. My new T-shirt.
The switch witch.
Switch witch.
It's usually trust the witch, but I don't mind switching. You got to be well-rounded, and I am well-rounded. Can I say?
Skills.
I'm a little delirious at the moment. So don't excuse me. There's no excuse.
So, John, when did saxophone come into the equation with Wolf Eyes?
I mean, it's always been there from the jump. I've always had it. I tried trumpet and took lessons for a long time, and my instructor was like, "You are absolutely the worst trumpet player I've ever heard in my life. Tried the saxophone for a weekend." So I brought it home, and I loved it from the jump. Well,
that's cool. I mean, and this is not even a diss, because some of my favorite musicians are saxophone players.
I love the saxophone,
but saxophone is actually an easier instrument to start on than trumpet. I find,
Absolutely. Yep.
When was the last time Tim? When was the last time you had your mouth on a saxophone?
Oh boy,
just asking.
Easier than clarinet, but I'm not a reed player, but I love reeds. I like double reeds. I'm into oboe. It just slices through everything. I'm into oboe and bassoons, all that.
Oboes are great. Yeah, all those are good. Stick something in your mouth, make it squeak. So
well, you guys are both Michigan guys. I used to play with Yusuf Lateef, and he would make his own reeds. He's multi instrumentalist Detroit boy.
Yeah, great player.
I still wouldn't mind playing with Eminem if you got any connections. I'm just saying, I don't want to eat his mom's spaghetti, but I'm more into the puttanesca, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway.
So what do you guys do? You have tours on the horizon? What's on the horizon here in terms of, besides recording, like just getting out and performing?
Not a whole lot. A couple things on the horizon. We're going out to Portland to some Dundee Lodge Fest. That's really the only thing that's really on the horizon. Everything else we're just kind of feeling out. I don't know.
When you were touring, when you were doing the most touring, I mean, was a lot of that just DIY booking, word of mouth, friend to friend kind of thing? Because right now it's really hard. It doesn't matter who you are, what you've been doing, what you do. It's really difficult now. You got to be crafty.
Yeah. No, I mean, back in the day, we did a lot of booking, but I still feel like it's done very similar, like a couple big gigs, and then we ask our friends. That's since day one. It's been like that, still like that, 100%. Feeling the Monday, Tuesdays,
Tumbleweed Tuesdays. Exactly.
Yeah, morose Mondays.
You guys know,
Well, we've worked in similar circles. I mean, we both have dealt with Angela down in Brazil.
Oh yeah,
she's a big fan of you guys, and
oh yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she thought you guys were really fun.
You know,
And-
the issue is South America would welcome us all with open arms, but it's so massive, it's disconnected. But a lot of the countries down there, I mean, they know the weirdest shit that goes on here. They know it because they, you know, it's because they're more culturally aware, although we are the bottom feeders of culture. But they know what goes on. It's just finding the way to get down there, because once you're down there, it's amazing.
Yeah, amazing spot.
I mean, all of it. I mean, we've gone to Colombia a few times, which was fantastic. We're going to go to Mexico City for the second time. That's great. But I wish there were better connections to do more shows in South America, because the people are really, they're into it. They're ready for it.
No,
Have you guys played Chile at all?
I would love to. No, I'm dying to go to Chile, Peru. I mean, any place.
I did a show, Child Abuse and Ruins Alone, did a double bill in Peru a couple of years ago. That was fucking awesome. It was hot as fuck, but it was Tatsuya Yoshida. So check this out. He was playing a festival in Chile, and he had a connection in like Vancouver, and then he had another connection in Peru to play Chile, but he had this 12-hour layover. So in his classic, you know, Japanese warrior style, he did instead of hanging out at the airport for 12 hours, he did a gig in Lima. He left the airport, like just went nuts, and then like went back to the airport and continued his connection flight to Chile.
That's amazing.
Well, I mean, right now with all of these flight cancellations, I mean, we just did a couple of shows. We were lucky, but what possible nightmares around every corner.
I know, that's how I feel about it too. The gas prices too. You know,
Yeah, and you know, so how do you guys support yourself?
we don't. I mean, you know,
Well, you live in Michigan, which you know is
That helps.
yeah, no, for sure. We don't, you know, personally, I work I had a family business, or I worked in my father's construction company for years and years and years.
Thank you, Dad, for having a company that you could do something in. Really, I mean, you got to do whatever you can do. It's, you know, people have to realize this is, you know, we're towing a hard line here, kids. Don't do it. Don't follow us. Don't do it. I always say become chemist or an architect. We don't need more, you know, impoverished musicians.
No, yeah.
Or construction. I mean, construction we need more female construction bosses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Construct this, honey. I gotta go take a nap. I'm gonna put myself down after this podcast. I'm gonna go knock myself out, and I don't mean gradually. That's one of my favorite songs by Little Green 30s. Knocking myself out gradually, but I think I'll kill myself. Check it out if you don't.
When
know
did your
it.
night, Lydia? When did your night kind of wind down last night?
What night?
What hour was it? Or I know you had a date last night, right?
Tim, you know I sleep in spits and twiddles. No, I went down at around 4:30 till about 6:30. Watched a little survivalist, you know, 'cause I'm prepared in case I'm ever stranded. Well, went back down. You know, it's whatever. I sleep for amateurs. You kids need it. Men need to sleep, so I can rifle through their goods and
How
play
was the-
incriminating evidence.
Was it a good date?
It's always a good date, honey, with me. I can entertain myself whether I have a date or not. It don't matter. I just paint whatever I want on their portraiture and we just take it from there. I'm very flexible, needless to say. And I'm very fucking picky. So there ain't no, you know, date bingo going down here. Although, wait a minute. Maybe I'm going to start dating bingo. I kind of like that idea.
Does Wolf Eyes have any like stalkers out there? Do you have anyone who are just kind of like, in the history of your 25 years, did you have any stalkers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any really insane ones?
No, just like, you know, people send in their dreams and shit, like
Okay.
repeatedly. And there's, you know, kind of freaky dreams, but you know, no big deal.
Mostly men, guys, dudes,
Both.
Both.
dreaming dudes. They never send me their dreams, but then again, maybe I am their dream. I don't know. Could be. They're a fucking nightmare.
Was there ever a Wolf Eyes beef with like another band? Was there ever like, did that ever go down? Like kind of, you don't have to tell me, but I kind of want to know.
Not really, you know.
Not really? Okay.
I mean, how could there be? It's just, you know.
Everyone's tired on the road and someone's an asshole. Like, I want to go on first, that kind of shit. Or is it like someone just really ripped you off for money or something like that?
Nah, what money?
Yeah.
I don't know, we took it pretty seriously sometimes, but most of the time it's like, well, what's the big deal?
Right.
I love going on first. I'd go on at 9 a.m., but that's, my Sunday come to, the church of God here. I mean, I love going on first. Like get it over with, not get it over with, but better than sitting through 3 other crappy bands or occasionally good. Whatever. I don't care what time matters, what time you go on.
I mean, I read so many goddamn rock and roll books, and it's so much as people complaining and so many gnarly things that
Right.
anything we would like try to muster in that level just would not compete. And it's just, there's no shortage of complaining musicians. So, we've all had our problems, but I mean, goddamn, we're getting away with making horrible sound. We got nothing better than that.
Very good attitude. And like
Yeah.
I always say, I'm paid to complain. Why am I going to do it in my fucking spare time? I charge for that shit, man. But speaking about rock and roll memoirs, I just got it. I'm very excited about this because I didn't really know this group when they came out. It was Weasel who kept telling me about Poison Idea.
Oh yeah.
And John A. Lang, is that his name? He just 3 volumes of a book just came in my mailbox yesterday. And I have to say, speak about a nightmare reality, and they're really well written.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Those guys are super intense. I mean, that they've, besides being too obese to tour for 90% of their lives, it's like they did it all. The drugs, man, it's insane. Yeah,
They went for it for sure.
It's really well written, and it's really a heartbreaking, horrible, and hilarious expose.
Yeah.
John, what was your what was the most disappointing rock memoir you read? Like,
Oh no.
Grand Funk Railroad. I hated the band after that.
and the best one?
The best one,
Three Dog Nightmare. Did you ever read that one? It's really good. I hate that band.
I'm reading the Peter Hook one now, Substance, A New Order. And that one's really good.
It is. Okay. All right.
I mean, God, I hate the band more than anything, but everything Kiss writes is incredible because it's so dumb,
Have you read I Am Ozzy?
No.
Who wrote it?
Ozzy. Well, he did it on tape. He claims he never even finished a book. He's like, I've tried, I just can't do it. But like,
you can't finish walking across the street.
You got to check out I Am Ozzy. You can read it in 2 days or one day. I mean, every page starting, there's at least 3 laughs. I mean, it's impossible not to laugh.
I really recommend 3 Dog Nightmare if you can get your hands on it, because they are one of the worst bands ever. And it's fantastically horrible, monstrous behavior. I mean, they sold like 80 million records. They didn't write any of their own songs. Chuck Negron, 18 stints in rehab, ends up with only a fucking like
half a lung. He has half a lung, and he still does casino performances.
Yeah, and a knapsack. And the thing is, the murder scene in Boogie Nights or Wonderland, like he was at that house of Eddie Nash, a big drug dealer in LA that booked a lot of the punk clubs back in the day, that John Holmes was involved in this setup. That's the Boogie Night story. Really, it's like John Holmes. And Chuck Negron was at that home when the murders went down every night, except the night the murders, and his wife found the dead bodies. Now, it doesn't get any better than that.
Man, John Holmes.
Loser. What?
John Holmes, Big Socks.
Yeah, well, he didn't have time to write a memoir, nor could he. I don't think he was the brightest. I think a lot of the blood cells were down there.
I mean, I gotta say it. I'm not a fan of most porn is boring. I had the asylum porn. John Holmes, sleazy as he was, he had something about the way he touched women that was kind of disgustingly sexy. He was brought up anyway. Jesus Christ, get that away from me. If I wanted to fuck a telephone pole, I don't. So I had to get that. I don't know why I had to get that in there.
Is Nate frozen? What's going on? Oh, there you are. All right. And what about you, Nate? Are you into? Wait. Whoa! What's going on here?
Madness.
Yeah, give it a second. I think it's fine now, right?
Good.
There it is. Yep.
And are you into rock and roll memoirs, Nate? Oh wait, Nate's frozen again.
Yes. We're too much. We're obviously too much for a simple Zoom here.
Have you guys ever read a book together, like a rock and roll? We read Dirt on the Road together, which was kind of intense. I gotta say, like,
Sure.
What was Dirt about? Who was that?
It's Motley Crue.
Crew.
Yeah.
Amateurs.
What were we like? That was our second tour or something, right? It was a little. Yeah, that was heavy. Each one of us reading at the same time. Fun as
Out loud?
no.
Oh, come on.
Come on, yourself.
I mean, okay, speaking about Tim Dahl reading out loud, I'm going to get him on the spoken word stage eventually. He
God.
read me a story recently that I forget. How old were you, Tim? The midget story.
I don't know. I was young.
7,
I was a
8, 9,
child.
10. Oh my God. He was born perverted.
Thanks.
That's why I
Well,
love
one
him.
time, one time we were on the road with Retrovirus, Lydia and Bob Burt. He was the drummer on the
Oh, Jesus,
on
I'm
that
frightened now
tour,
on this, yeah.
and he was reading the Kim Gordon memoir, and he's like, "Hey, Lydia, there's a whole page dedicated to you." And it's like kind of like this paraphrase, like, "Oh, I always loved Lydia's music and stuff, but I never felt like I could trust her. I always thought she was trying to get thirst." And Lydia interrupted, goes, "Goddamn right, bitch, you can't trust me." Finally, a little bit of fucking truth came out of your fucking mouth, you cunt.
Well, look, I'm gonna have to say it. I felt she didn't write her book, so I didn't read it, but I still I wrote a review of it, but I send that only to Bob and Thurston. Enough said. There's very few people I have that kind of animosity towards. It's just, there's very few people that untalented. Nothing.
All right. Hey, John, I'd say the Rod Stewart autobiography was a little disappointing. I mean, I liked certain parts, but it's just called Rod.
Yeah. And what did you think of the Keith Richards one?
I've only read excerpts. Your Life, I've only read an excerpt. I haven't, because that's a pretty dense one. It's like 600 pages. I was just like, I always pick it up when someone else is reading it and just kind of read some parts. Pretty cool though, what I've read.
Listened to a lot of that one. We had because he reads most of it, and then the other half is read by someone else, right?
Yeah, it changes. It starts with Depp, and then it changes to some bloke midway through. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Weird. All right.
Well, it's not a rock memoir, but it's a false memoir that Jerry Stahl wrote. That somebody said the name Depp, which I assumed you meant Johnny, who Johnny Depp had his hands on what I think is one of Jerry Stahl's best book, Fatty Arbuckle's tale from Fatty's possible perspective. I got to give Jerry Stahl, whose new book 999, which is about him visiting the concentration camps, a shout out, just because there's a lot of crappy rock bios, but there's a lot of great Jerry Stahl books. I just saying, why not? Just saying.
If you ever pick up Rod, just skip most of it and just read the chapter dedicated just to his hair.
Oh,
yeah, there's a whole chapter just.
I think I'm choking on a hairball.
Well, you were reading the Aerosmith one while we were on tour again, and just being like, you were sort of dictating it, but just being like, dudes, when they start shooting LSD, it's just a little intense.
the Aerosmith.
I mean, I have to say,
Whoa.
size is not necessarily the issue, but I prefer my rock stars to be a little taller than I am. And Steven Tyler, not really.
Well, Steven Tyler had the hots for you.
Shrimp.
He had the hots for you when you were a kid.
No, he had the hots for my girlfriend who was a virgin, and I said, "You ain't getting a bit of that, honey. Step aside."
Well, what about Iggy? He's
a shrimp, but yeah. I mean, look, you can't put your arms around something. Can't put your arms around a memory, and a memory of what Iggy once was. Hot as fuck, but put your shirt on, Grandpa. I had to say it. I'm sorry. No disrespect. Really. I don't know.
You were just. You always said that.
I'm gonna zip myself right now because I'm just gonna start talking dirty to myself inside my own head. Carry on.
So besides making music, besides enjoying each other's company and raising a family, John's raising a family. I don't know if you have kids, Nate, or not. You don't. What do you guys do in your spare time? And besides reading rock and roll memoirs, what else do you guys like to do besides music? No answer. Tumbleweeds.
Well, I like to. I have a dog. Her name's Josie, and I take her for a lot of walks. You know, that's kind of a lot of my extracurricular time. Besides, I don't know.
That's a fine answer.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
a
know.
fine answer.
They're reading and all that too, but you know, like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy since COVID too. You know, we used to go out. Like, you know, I used to enjoy going out, going to shows and socializing. So yeah, you know, go see some gigs, go see a movie, whatever, you know, go to the bar, simple shit. But yeah, I don't know, like not.
Time moves different after COVID, in a sense, don't you think? It kind of moves different. Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. Yeah. And I mean, I didn't get COVID. I don't want COVID. I don't want monkeypox. I might just be immune. I don't know, but I'm staying safe. I mean, we're touring. I'm not avoiding anything, but I keep the mask on, you know. Sometimes double bag your own face. Give me the hazmat suit. What are you gonna do?
You grabbed my attention with the intravenous liquid LSD concept. I mean, would that? I guess it would just hit you faster, but would that make any real difference at the end of the day?
That's ridiculous. I mean,
Olson, tell us more.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, they were really bored in their.
That's what it sounds like.
They were like, "Let's try this just to be dumb," you know. Do you know?
Acid on the eyeball was another popular pastime for idiots who had nothing better to do. I don't know what's the problem of just putting it on your tongue.
I don't know if you know about this about the Smiths, but the
Smiths.
Aerosmith. They get together and they have the Dare to Suck band meetings where they try to have the dumbest ideas and see which ones might stick. And when you think about that, and then you think about the album where it's the two cars humping each other, and like you think almost all their ideas, you're like, oh my god, like a lot of these probably came from the Dare to Suck like meetings. You know, it's kind of genius. Actually.
Yeah, kind of is.
Well, I mean, this is the problem with people like us. We don't know how to be dumb enough to make something that's going to sell a lot of copies. So therefore we're cursed. We're cursed with intelligence, because how dumb do you have to be? And there you go. Aerosmith once again proving you got to be that fucking dumb. You just got to be dumb. Got to be dumb. Dumb it down, boys. Dumb it down.
Yeah, dumb it down.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I'm not even sure I mean that, but whatever.
And anything you guys want to plug besides just your existence?
Not really. I mean, you know, no.
Sure. Why don't you go listen to the, I don't know, like 400 releases you had that nobody can find because they only might be copies of one. I think that's really good. Treasure hunt. Wolf Eyes Treasure Hunt. I think we should institute something like that.
Go find something and destroy it.
Go to our radio. We have our own radio too, WTRIP.org. And you can listen to 4 days of weird, rare stuff that we put up there. A lot of stuff off our phones, you know.
And I do suggest shooting, dropping, or inserting acid into your eye before you do that, kids.
Has anyone ever come to the merch booth with like 400 artifacts for you to sign? Like, can you just give me a second? Can you sign all these?
There was a kid who came with our complete discography early on when it was like at like maybe 150, 200. And we were blown away, like had like this booklet. And he was like, yeah, it's like my high school project. We were like, wow, it's everything we had done up to that point. That was about the most, I think.
You see, that's my attitude exactly. It's like, I don't want more fans. I actually only want one or two that could pay what all the others would to come to a show. Like one fan with good money, performances, not every night, but maybe every other night. Come on, I'm full of them. That would be bliss. And in a sense, one person collecting 100 and whatever, but you know, give something back, kid. Go get a job and support Wolf Eyes. What can I say?
Or just go destroy something.
Exactly. As long as it's not the boat, the kayak you're floating in at the moment. Exactly.
That
we-
would be
Mm.
Were
Don't
you two
blow up a
were you
kayak.
two vandals growing up? Like just kind of.
Well, I was. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just like fuck shit up.
Well, not like fuck shit up. I did a lot of well, we did a lot of spray painting. We were out skateboarding. We would spray paint all the time.
So it wasn't for comedy. It was actually kind of like
it was a
kind of just to
little-
mark your territory.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I mean, you say spray painting, but were you doing graffiti or just defacing shit?
It was sort of, so we would advertise our band's gig with like, just straight up, here's the address and this is
Till you could get arrested for even spitting on the sidewalk. Yeah.
and we were like, well, what's the possibility? And our first gig, we were really nervous that the cops were going to come, but no one showed up because it was always like, well, we're not really doing anything that well. No one would be that dumb to do this. Like that was our whole like, yeah.
I mean, still, at least till now, making noise or music or gathering in a basement is not yet illegal. Don't hold your breath, kids. It could be any day now.
Hold your breath. Yeah. No, that was
Oh, no more boisterous boys in the basement. Unless it's at my house. I don't have a basement, but if I did, I'd welcome you all there to make noise.
that'd be sick. That'd be a banging party.
It definitely be me gang banging all of you, motherfucker.
Well, as long as there aren't any
I
nude
am going to put myself to bed immediately.
nude elves.
Hell no,
But-
nude elves. No, nude elves. God damn it. Don't make me quote Bataille. Nudity is death, and even the sweetest kiss leaves the aftertaste of the rat, especially when it's coming from an elf.
Whoa. Excuse me? Yeah.
I didn't mean to blow your mind, but I just did because I'm not even saying the rest of that joke.
Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add. I mean, this was you gave us a little north of an hour of your time, which we appreciate, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your week.
It was a pleasure to finally meet you two remotely, at least.
Yeah. Yep. Hope we get to do a gig together and blow some minds.
Yeah, I do have my eye on the Detroit area. Just warning you, calling it out. I do like that UFO club in Detroit a lot. I performed there recently, and I am looking for a way to get back. So you never know. I might be crawling around, 20 or 30 minutes from you, which is as close as you might possibly find me. All right, gentlemen, this is the Lydian Spin with Lydia Lunch, Tim Dahl, and the Gentlemen of Wolf Eyes. Going strong, still going, not stopping. Get used to it. We're here. We're weird. We're on it.
All right. See you later.